Yo, what's going on, guys? This is episode 15 of the PokeTalk podcast. It's your host, Nate and Phillip. What's going on, Phillip?
Hey, not too much at all, Pretty excited for this episode, and also need to vent a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, we got a little special section in the news here to vent a little bit about our beloved grading company, PSA. But this episode, as far as the main topic goes, is going to be other TCGs. Should Pokemon be worried? I think Pokemon's in a really good spot, but there's a lot of other TCGs that are also great in their own way. We're going to be talking about the pros and cons of everything in relation to Pokemon. If you guys haven't heard, Disney is making their own TCG next year. I believe it's called LORCANA. And we'll be touching on that too, touching on Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic, even Little MetaZoo, and then some other lesser known or less popular ones. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about Disney especially.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, I guess we'll just hop on into the news and tell us what you're thinking, Phillip. How's PSA treating us?
Well, so today is September 8th. We sent out our first PSA order in the final week of October. So it was like October 24th or so of 2020.
Yeah, our first middleman order.
So, I mean, we're approaching 104 weeks. I guess we're at 99 or something like that. And you're seeing people getting their cards back from sending in to economy. Just 6 months ago, you're already seeing some of those people getting their cards back. And just today, they announced, $22 bulk.
Yeah, literally this evening, a few days old after you're listening to this when it's released. But the bulk is back, $22 for members. I think the membership is like $100 a year. So, I mean, if you're paying $22 and getting your cards back, I mean, I think the turnaround time was like 150 days or so. And pretty much every tier that they have been opening, whether it be like a special or not, they had even 18 there for a while for like a limited time, 2-week period as like a trial run. But yeah, every level they've opened so far, they've been pretty much sticking to their turnaround times. And it was just announced today that the bulk service, $22 a card, will be 120 to 150 calendar days. So that's not even business days. That's, pretty good time. That's 4 or 5 months. So, which is nothing compared to the orders from 2020 that are still out there going on 2 years now.
Honestly, one thing we don't quite know how much is it PSA's responsibility that this has gotten to this point, because we've also had Ludkins reach out to us, be like, okay, this is how much of an upcharge you're going to have, and this is what you need to owe. And that was paid a long time ago at this point.
Yeah, in May.
Yeah. And we thought, oh my God, here it is. It's finally, this is great timing. Perfect. And we paid and nothing. Now, I know you saw it for a while. It was other individuals in that submission who haven't paid, which we don't quite know how Ludkins practices work and how they function. Do they just pay everything at once, which would make sense? You just have to take it a part of your business expense, I would think, and then you just hold on to the cards. I wouldn't, I don't remember if there was like a contract we signed or something. I don't know if there was or not or like a disclaimer, if that was a part of a disclaimer or not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember it just being a form and you just sending it, but I wasn't sure if maybe there was like a terms and agreement that was used at some point. But the fact that if it was Ludkins at one point, well, now PSA has absorbed Ludkins. How was that 3 months ago?
Yeah, something like that. And essentially the UK branch was developed through, the Ludkins branch. So now they're pretty much like part of PSA because they had a lot of action going through there. They actually said on the podcast, the PSA pod this week, that also came out today, which was also just hyping up their $22 card like nothing happened, nothing's a problem. But they said they choose their locations like that based on how much volume is traveling through. So with Ludkins, a lot of volume went through the UK, and that's why they pretty much absorbed that branch. Granted, ours was Ludkins North America, which is totally different, but either way, this has just gone too far. And if it's on Ludkins' end or PSA's end, at this point, even with everybody understanding the craze of 2020, it is just becoming too much to see all these other levels open up. It's not really bugging me too much. It's just like annoying, and I'm frustrated for the people who, just kind of dabbled in the hobby. But I think that's also part of the problem, because it very well could be like PSA is just holding the cards because we've known that they've been graded and upcharged for months now. They could be holding the cards until Ludkins pays. Ludkins could be waiting to pay until every single customer who was in that order pays, which could be who knows how many.
And that doesn't make sense to me for business practice, because clearly individuals have moved on. It's not.
Yeah.
I can't imagine with where the market's at in most channels that I can't afford it. I can't imagine that's the case at all. So to
Well,
me,
and
it seems.
Ludkins, like, it makes sense for like a business practice that way, but also it doesn't, because Ludkins can't pay for those cards and then sit on them or sell them at like this market. Basically, if they had a system in place like that, they would have to like immediately sell them just to like, get the capital back. But, what if the owners, they can't just wait 2 years and then give up their cards? Like, there's a lot of legal stuff in there. I think I mentioned this before, like, even insurance documents and stuff, they have to be held on to for like 7 to 10 years. So if there was something in place like that, they would have to hold that for like a long time to deem it like unclaimed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's happened before. I'm sure it
Yeah.
has. So I imagine at some point, like it's just got to be, the cost has got to be ate at some point by somebody after so long.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's been 6 months and it still hasn't been paid, I mean, realistically, is it really anybody going to actually come forward and pay? Like, I have doubts, real doubts that that's going to happen at this point, because I understand some people might be struggling for money, but again, the market isn't what it was.
Yeah.
So it's not like these are like crazy costs for some of these cars. Maybe for one or two people, but the majority, no.
Yeah, it's just frustrating. It's easy for Ludkins to look bad because they're the ones who took the orders, but maybe that's PSA stance. They're like, oh, well, we've got them graded. It's, Ludkins' problem. But, either way, it makes PSA look bad because they're flaunting these $22 tiers. So they need to really get
At
on
least
the
address
ball.
something.
Yeah, they need to get on the ball and like really wrap this up, because they're talking about how good the hobby's doing. It's still moving forward. Well, I'll tell you right now, it'd be even stronger if we had those cards back, because that is the sole reason I haven't been grading. I want all my cards back just so I can like reevaluate my collection, see what I want to trim down, and then go from grading there. I have an entire hollow first edition base set I'm waiting to send into PSA. I could have sent that in a long time ago. They could have made a lot of money off me on the upcharges if I would have sent them a year ago. But glad we're kind of getting screwed over, because it's made me not send a single thing into PSA essentially since we've had this order out. But
Yeah.
it's just frustrating for all parties. It makes all companies involved look bad. They really need to wrap this up, like, in any way possible. Um,
I mean, if you
yeah,
look at the dealer economy group submissions, they're only completed through 1/18/22.
yeah.
Now, they stopped allowing group submissions bulk. Well, Ludkins voluntarily stopped at one point. I don't remember when that was, like U.S. Ludkins. I know they stopped in the bulk at one point. And I know PSA also limited or cut it off also at some point. I think that was in March, though. So, but that's also when they entered it into the system. That's not when they received it. So, I mean, and
Yeah.
then what one thing I was also going to mention is like as far as like a customer service level, I worked in customer service all my life, and whenever you have an atrocious experience and with either a company or employee or whatever, either it's amended somehow or you just never go there again. You never give them your money again. At a
Hmm.
certain point, it's about principle, and just be like, oh yeah, we PSA being like, oh yeah, we kind of set a lot of the market. We set a lot of the market price in a lot of ways, and so they just kind of expect people to give to them.
Yeah.
But okay, you got CGC is now a legit competitor to PSA, a very legit competitor. They offer more affordable prices and they offer quicker turnaround time and have been this whole entire time. I realized there was more sent out to PSA, significantly more, especially for Pokemon, and they don't deal with sports with CGC or CGC directly. It doesn't, but still,
Yeah. Something's got to give. And, yeah, they just need to wrap it up. I understand, like, people sending directly now, which is what, I'll be doing for the rest of time,
yeah,
especially since they made
yeah.
it easier. Before, the idea of a middleman was great. I mean, just send your cards, they do the work. But yeah, just the way it's shaped up to be. I mean, that's what I was trying to get at with the, you know, occasional here and there collector, like you just said. It just made it such a horrible experience. Like, I don't know. Just imagine the guys who just sent one order and they're still waiting 2 years to, and they're not involved in the hobby enough where they're hearing about all this. It's going
Mm-mm.
to take years for that to recover for the casual person. But I don't know.
And I mean, I'm not saying I'll never send a PSA because I mean, I almost have no choice in some regards. If you want a certain premium on your cards, especially if you know it won't get a CGC 10, but you're confident it'll get a PSA 10. Like sometimes you don't have a choice, but the fact is, it's going to take a minute before I'm willing to give PSA any more money again
Yeah.
because when you're treated like this sort of expectant dollar, like oh they're gonna have to give me money, just you're just seeing it as a dollar sign. Clearly, they only care so much as the profit they make. At least that's my skewed vision right now, or my biased vision, I guess you could say. Cynical.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even though mine's more of personal matter, like of course I'll still send the PSA, but it's like it's more of a personal matter to me. Like I had a lot of cards sent out, some big ones, and I want to wait until they're back to like reevaluate things. I don't like having multiple orders out. I like doing one, getting it back. Like, you know, I've been in the hobby a long time now, and I really am here for the long haul, planning out what to grade, and it takes me a long time to pull the trigger on some stuff. So I'll wait as long as I need to. But yeah, it'd be more money in their pocket if they got my cards earlier. With the upcharges, I'm sure they'd slap on there, which is, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's our little TED Talk for PSA. Let us know if you guys have stuff. I mean, there's tons of people in the hobby that just still have stuff left. I know people actively sending in, economy levels when they opened up and, even the higher tiers, and they're getting their cards back and they still have 2020 orders as well. But, we've talked about this before. It's not a first in, first out, or first in, last out. There's just no rhyme or reason. It's just a jumbled mess, and nobody knows what's going on. You know, guys at Ludkin, stop responding. It's just still a headache, and nobody knows why. So there's even been rumors of a plastics shortage, but that doesn't seem to bother them opening up the bulk tier for $22. So
that's not it. Yeah, I mean, and you know what? I've always defended PSA. I have always defended PSA. Always did whatever I could to keep their name well privileged, and I just can't do that anymore. And it's yeah.
I've
I
always
don't know. I was very loyal.
I've always been back and forth. I mean, depending, but I mean, it's just typical PSA. There's always something. This is just the norm for everyone. Like listening out there, don't have it be a reason to shine away from you. You know, PSA. Of course, it's not the norm for that rare 2020 situation, but PSA's history has kind of been like this. It's a lot of ups and downs, but PSA is still the place to go. Don't get us wrong. I guess that's our disclaimer. You know, we always got to talk bad about the companies just because, you know, we're hoping they improve. We love the companies. That's why we're giving them constructive criticism, just like all these TCGs we're about to talk about. But
we got to talk about something else first, though. We got to talk about the Charizard UPC.
Yeah.
A little bit more
Charizard UPC's looking good. We got some better images showing off the Charizards.
We do, and we get a first glimpse at Charizard being pwned on his own card by Mewtwo.
He was taking a beating on the EX card in the illustration contest or the illustration book.
With the Venusaur, some people think, oh, he's about to take a beating. But I don't know. He looked like he had fight in his eyes. This one is like, you know, you got Mewtwo with a Shadow Ball, and it looks like Charizard is. I think it's supposed to look like he's about to, but it looks like he's on his last sparks or his flames, his last embers. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
Yeah, really cool looking card. I mean, it's almost like the anime art style.
Yeah.
And then we got the VMAX that looks like Godzilla.
Yeah. I would say what's cool about that Charizard V is the leaked image of the Mewtwo Alt-Art V-Star looks like it's the opposite view of this Charizard V-Star.
Yeah, for the upcoming sets, yeah.
You can barely make it out, but after seeing this more of a clear image, it looks very similar. Like it looks like it's the same scene. And you know, it's with a photo looking like it was taken on a Hazer from 2005.
Yeah, the first images were not good at all.
It could be more details away, but it does look like it's this Charizard fighting with this Mewtwo, which is cool. And then the other one, I have to say, the other one is like the aftermath of the Charizard Alt-Art from Brilliant Stars, and this is like a 4-card scene now. I feel like with this Alt-Art, if not more.
Yeah, I like the V where he's like laying down, looking at Venusaur. It reminds me a lot of that, like Charizard EX, where Venusaur has him wrapped in its vines. Mm-hmm. It's like that battle is about to happen, or it just ended, and like it's about to start again. You know, there's like broken trees around there, but
yeah, it's like Venusaur. You can't quite make it out because of you can kind of see it, but I bet you can see it more in person. But it kind of looks like Venusaur is giving Charizard this like lazy eye.
Yeah, and there's a leaf on Charizard's nose, so it's like he was napping and he was, you know, woken up by a leaf falling on him that Venusaur had. So yeah, just really cool looking cards. I wanted to make a point that there seems to be quite a bit of these. A lot of stores that were, you know, involved in the celebrations UPC are getting about 4 to 5 times more of this one. Whether that's a supply improvements or what. I think there's just more out there. So you should be able to find this one a little more easily than the UPC. You know, there's the factor of it being a Charizard, so it's going to be insanely popular. but there is more quantity. Like, it's pretty obvious that there's more quantity, so that, kind of evens it out there. But also, Celebrations was a time where way more people were trying to scalp. I think I told a story of like this 50-year-old guy not involved in Pokemon was bragging about his Celebrations ETBs that he was going to hold on to them and see what happens.
And the gal that with this Celebration UPC stuck out from 6 a.m. or whatever it was, 6 a.m. to get both of them at GameStop.
Yeah. So hopefully it's not like that. It should be cheaper. I mean, maybe it'll creep up. There's no gold cards. But, yeah, it's going to be something to watch. I want just one of them to open. And, yeah, I don't think I'll even be holding on to these sealed. I just want a copy of each of the promos. So.
Yeah. I think this one will do well sealed, obviously, and there will be a lot of people opening it. But ultimately, I think you're going to be able to find one, or at least even on the secondary market, it won't get too crazy, because I saw the UPCs hit as low as like 230 shipped.
Mm-hmm.
The Celebrations. So if that one hit 230 shipped, we don't know the exact numbers, but we know the trend that Pokemon has done with these products, that they're going to print more. They're going to print more than what they did for the Celebrations, and we both understand the major limiting factor was the cost of the supplies for it, like the gold cards and all that. But this doesn't have that, and they're going to have more printed. So if you're talking, I think, wasn't a rumor like only 10K or something of the Celebrations UPC were made?
I wasn't sure on the numbers on that one. I just know like the distribution for this one compared to that one seems to be like 4 or 5 times more for like the average stores, or the stores that I follow, like on YouTube. They said, where some stores got, a lot of stores got less than 10. Like this one store got like 4 Celebrations, and he's getting like 50 of the Charizard. So, and it seems to be pretty similar story across the board from anyone that I've been following.
I'm gonna say if Celebrations hit about 230 shipped, and we know it's gonna be much more printed, I think it's safe to say that you'll be able to get it at a decent price on this secondary market in due time. If they're going for 120 MSRP, I mean, I think you can easily get one. I bet I wouldn't be surprised if you'd be able to get one pretty close to that. Maybe
but
like
it's
150,
Charizard,
a little bit
3
more.
Charizards.
I know, but I just looking at the trends.
It's just like the special delivery Bidoof. Yeah, it's gonna go cheap, but it'll outpace, I think.
I mean, I'm just saying in terms of price, like what it will. I'm not talking about which one will do better. I'm talking about in terms of you being able to get this for an affordable price compared to the Celebrations UPC and how it was on the secondary market.
Yeah.
I think it will be like again 230 Celebrations UPC shipped. I'm confident you'll probably be able to get it pretty close to MSRP eventually on the secondary market. Obviously, it'll go up in due time, and it will do very well. But I just think people shouldn't worry and try to. I know there were some issues on the Pokemon TCG subreddit. Like people are already trying to get pre-orders up, and then there was this one place. I can't even remember the name of the site. It was like so sketch, and it's like, why are you trying to buy from these sketch websites when it's just people are getting caught in FOMO? Like they're just getting caught in FOMO with this, and it's like, take a breather. It's not gonna moon shot. Okay, it's not gonna be as bad as you think it is.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's gonna be crazy. Either way, it'll be a nice product, nice promos. Definitely want to get one to open, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the only other news we'll have, which we're going to touch on more at the end of the episode, of course, we mentioned it. We're going to KC Collecticon. So if you're interested in what we might bring or what we're thinking about that, check the end of the episode. We'll touch on that then. But yeah, how about the main topic? Should Pokemon be worried about other TCGs?
All
Yes or
right, which
no?
one do you want to start? Well, that depends on which one you want to start with. First off, I want to say more about the other TCGs, and then kind of say what I think before be like, okay,
Yeah.
here's what
Let's
you need to
just
know.
let's just go through kind of the main TCGs on the table.
Hmm.
I kind of, just wanted to mention the more common ones. You have a couple others on your list to argue
Hmm.
for. So, yeah, let's just go back and forth, talk about what we're talking about, and do the pros and cons, and kind of go from there. So, yeah, what's number one on the list, or should we start with a more popular one?
How about we start with the more popular one? What about Magic?
All right. Yeah, I like Magic a lot. I play Magic a lot. I have like 15 decks that I'm always tweaking, playing with buddies. However, I'm not involved in buying new products. I've been out. I probably haven't bought a Magic product in 5 years. Really been turned off to what they've been doing here lately. It's always like a money grab. They're doing like essentially if Pokemon has alt arts, if they put like 20 alt arts in the set and then had like an etched version, a hollow version, a borderless version, that's the kind of stuff Magic is dabbling in right now. And it used to not be like that. It's really been in the last 5 years, I think, where it's been really ramped up, especially the last like 6 to 7. If you take a look back at Magic, we were in kind of like a healthy spot, and it's just really been blown open. They have a lot of corporate stuff to deal with on that side, but overall, I love the game. There's been many things trying to copy Magic as far as like Flesh and Blood. That's just one of the main ones. It's kind of like MetaZoo is to Pokemon. It's like Flesh and Blood is to Magic. So overall, I love the game. They have a strong core fan base, strong game mechanics. Probably the best as far as like gameplay, in my opinion. I think that is an area that it beats Pokemon at.
Hmm.
A lot more strategy, a lot more in
Yep.
depth, drawn out games. But it's, you know, proved to be more towards a more mature audience. They're not really targeting younger kids or anything. You can just see that by the artwork. It's a lot more gory and stuff like that, darker for sure. But yeah, I love Magic. I don't think Pokemon should be worried about Magic in a sense because of the audience gap.
Yep. The two separate demographics.
Yeah. And there's
That's the
not
main
really
difference.
much collectability in Magic outside of the early sets.
No,
Nobody
and
really collects unless it's like a big name card, which there's reprints galore. But yeah, what you think? You have any experience with Magic?
I do not actually. Obviously, I've been around Magic for a long time in terms of just being involved in TCGs, like from obviously the Pokemon TCG to the Yu-Gi-Oh TCG. Even dabbled in between with the Dragon Ball Super T or the Dragon Ball Z at the time BCG, and even a little Digimon then. But never Magic. It never really intrigued me. I guess because I was never really interested in the strategy games for the TCG.
Mm-hmm.
I never played. It was always about the art more for me than anything. And I'm looking at a lot of these Magic cards now. They are doing new things with like the different foil designs that it looks like. I think they are trying to increase like just based on like from outsider perspective collectability. I mean, there's some that do look gorgeous. I will say that.
Yeah, it is. It is really cool. It's just like some of the booster packs, like I don't know, they just made a product recently, like another master set where they just kind of go all out. It's like you can get like 3 mythic cards, which is like three,
The secret rare,
yeah,
pretty
secret
much.
rares. Yeah. That's like the big cards. You can get like 3+ of those in a pack. And like, yeah, you have all the etched foils and stuff like that. I mean, some of those booster packs are pretty ridiculously priced. Um, the packs on the store shelves are like hundreds of dollars. and you get just a handful of packs for that. So I don't know. It's just a big entry. Like, people have been calling for reprints of cards to bring the cost down. And yeah, they do reprints, but they also throw them in sets like this where they're like way over the top and super expensive. So I don't know.
Well, and Magic's whole thing is basically tournaments and actual play. And I think it's pretty amazing how dedicated a lot of the players are. And I do think it's a very respectable game in TCG, and I like to see it be successful.
Yeah.
And, they are in a lot of ways. I mean, they obviously aren't the first cards made, but from modern, I would say they kind of hold that distinction of kind of getting the ball rolling in a lot of ways for modern TCG products, and they kind of set the gold standard. I would
Hmm.
say everybody kind of is compared to Magic, especially when it comes to strategy. And now you have Pokemon that has built enough repertoire to diverge from Magic. It's like the two own distinctions, and like you have like Pokemon and Magic, they're their own distinctions, and they're the kings of the castle. And Magic is cool. It's just I've never played it personally.
Yeah.
I just know one of the local stores here. They specialize in stuff like Warhammer and board games and Magic. You can buy raw cards of Magic. We can't-
And most
you,
are.
you can't catch Pokemon though in there. God forbid. But the guy is almost like personally offended because he was around during the early 2000 crash of or I should say crash of Pokemon, but when the people stopped buying and he
Hmm.
was stuck with a lot of product and he still remembered that. And basically when I asked him during the hype, it was just like you plan on getting any, and he almost laughed, basically almost laughed in my face about, oh, Pokemon.
Yeah.
I don't want any part of this hyper fad or whatever this is. And here we go. 2 years later, year and a half later, Pokemon's still going strong, still selling crazy, and they still haven't adapted. But it is
Yeah.
what it is. But that being said, Magic, I think that really is indicative of how strong Magic is. That
Yeah.
there's so many individuals now are still so loyal that they come and play to this day, and they still play, and they're competitive about it. And yeah, I just think it's a really amazing TCG. And I mean, didn't South Park even make fun of it? Magic. It was called yeah, they did. I don't know if you've seen that episode, but that one's pretty good.
Uh, I remember. It's been a long time since I've seen that, but I do remember them touching on that.
That one was a fantastic episode, and if you're made fun by South Park, then you have made it as a successful franchise. Well, you made it as a notable one at least. So
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it just so strongly revolves around its playability. A lot of the expensive cards in the game are ones that are playable. And the reason they're expensive is because like they're played in like really popular decks, and you need four of them. So very playable driven. You know, Pokemon used to be that way when collecting wasn't big pre 2016, pretty much, where like a card's value was actually really strongly based off playability.
hmm
I think I talked about this before when the Mewtwo, when the EXs came back the second time. Mewtwo EX like held at like $100 for a modern card, which is really strong. It was like the most expensive modern card out. It was like the Moonbreon. But yeah, it held strong at $100 for like 2 years because that's how long it was relevant. And now you can pick it up for like $10. But you still see that a little bit today. Like the Arceus and Palkia V
Yep.
Stars are pretty popular. They're still $30, $40 cards, where like other rarities of that is like, 10 to 20. So you still see a little bit of that today, but the pendulum definitely has swung for Pokemon. Like playability is a lot lower than collectability now. So
They're definitely gearing hard towards it, um,
yeah, they're wanting to
towards the
bring
playability
back.
aspects.
They're wanting to bring that back. Like,
This year was a clear. The 2022 Worlds was a clear indication of not just really TCG. I mean, obviously the competitive aspects of TCG, but all competitive aspects of their gameplay. You can tell they're trying to Pokemon is trying to tackle into that niche of the market that they aren't as dominant in as compared to Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I think that they're like, okay, how can we grow? And that's a very commonsensical way to grow amongst your player base. You can only you're going to keep on growing with the collection aspect. That's just a freight train, and the next thing is just running away, and that's just going to keep on going up, 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 up. And the TCG competitive aspect is starting to kind of be left in the dust, almost an afterthought. And they almost had to do something like, I mean, it's obviously not on life support, right? It's got a healthy community, but it's got plenty of podcasts, plenty of individuals who are passionate about it, and it lives on through them, and it's going to continue going on.
Yeah.
But it needs some propping up.
Yeah, the thing I noticed is, they brought back the point system so you can qualify for big events. You don't have to go to regionals or states in Pokemon now. That's something that kind of went away for the pandemic, and they're definitely trying to bring that back, which is awesome. So yeah, they're definitely moving in the right direction. Magic has always killed it with their events. Friday night Magic was always a thing where all the game stores Friday night you'd go play. You could get a promo every week. Then they did away with the promos for a while, and they kind of did some weird stuff with that. But their pre-release events are great. Pokemon kind of has done that, but yeah, the collectability of Pokemon has just really overtaken everything, and I think we're slowly starting to see that come back. And yeah, I don't think Pokemon should be worried with Magic, though. I mean, they'll catch up on play. Maybe they won't catch up on playability as far as strategy, but it's definitely not in any risk just based off the demographic. And Magic is kind of doing their own job at shooting themselves in the foot with a lot of the stuff. Proxies are a really huge thing in Magic because, people just want to play the game. They don't want to pay $40 for 4 copies of a card when they can buy all 4 copies for like $5 and just buy it from a China seller proxy. The card might look off, but you can put it in a sleeve and it plays just fine. So I don't know. That's kind of a whole nother discussion, though.
Mm-hmm.
But what about Yu-Gi-Oh for the next one? I guess that's the next biggest, really, huh?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is definitely okay.
Or one
I
that's
love
been
Yu-Gi-Oh.
around
All right.
for
Yeah,
just long.
I don't really. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh. It was Yu-Gi-Oh in a lot of ways was more of a um, I don't want to say I want to say more children-oriented gameplay, but similar in a lot of regards. I felt like I always felt like Yu-Gi-Oh was the children's magic or the younger person's magic is kind of what I saw it as, and I
Yeah,
also think what's great about Yu-Gi-Oh is it has high collectability. They got a lot of good-looking cards. They sure do. And I mean, you did. I know you did. You left Pokemon for Yu-Gi-Oh. I did the same.
yeah. A lot of people have that same experience. Yeah,
Yep.
Yu-Gi-Oh was just as big there for a while. Plus, I feel like the connection there, like the story of the anime, was a lot more in depth.
I love
And
the anime. I actually still watch the anime. I like just the first few seasons. I don't watch like how they change the character and all that. But
I actually went back and watched it like a couple of years ago, like finished it out because they actually have like an ending to the story, and I think it's only 5 seasons, but
you ever the original one?
I
See,
I think
they
so.
only they only got like they only had maybe first 2 or 3 on Netflix, and it's harder and more difficult for me to find the streams for that anime because it's like a big name anime, but it's not on wasn't on the Funimation, it wasn't on it's not on Crunchyroll, at least I don't think it was. I'll have to look at that. But
Yeah,
like I'm trying to watch that in English. Like I grew up watching that in English. I want to watch that in English, and Like I watch all of Naruto in subtitles, and you know what? I can do it, but I'd rather not anymore if I have a choice. It's not that bad.
I
But
think I think I might have them somewhere. I'll have to send them to you. But
what's that?
the uh, the other seasons, or like all the seasons.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I find myself it's more simplified, but I mean it's I still enjoy watching it,
Yeah, and maybe that's
and
where like the fandom of Magic never came through. They never had like a show. It was just always straight card game. And maybe that's why we see the strength in its playability. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! I think you kind of hit it on the nail. Pokemon is like the grade school game where you're like learning like TCG games. It
mhm.
does have enough depth to where it has a very wide range and it can get competitive, but it's like only a handful of decks really makes a competitive scene every few years, whereas Magic, it's a little more broad, but you still have the same thing where it's like a handful of decks are always like the top decks. But there's just a lot more variety in Magic's gameplay. Yu-Gi-Oh, I think, falls right in the middle of that.
Mhm.
It's a little more complicated with mechanics, like more mechanics in Pokemon, but the mechanics are pretty simple. Now they do have a lot of extra stuff, like they have a lot of like I know synchro cards were coming in. It was like an all new character type when I was like dabbling in collecting again for Yu-Gi-Oh. They were like white cards. And then yeah, now they have the ghost cards which are kind of more collectible based and I really like what they're doing with Yu-Gi-Oh. My biggest problem with Yu-Gi-Oh was the reprints. Like they do reprint cards a lot. Pokemon does a really good job with this. Like when they reprint cards, they have a different artwork. We've seen some with the same artwork, like basic Charizard and Celebrations, for example. But the card is always drastically changed. There's some sets in Yu-Gi-Oh that have had reprints that are very pretty much like not distinguishable from each other. You do have the set code or the set lettering like you do in Pokemon with the symbols, but there are still even versions that the only difference is like the card stock. So that's why a lot of collectability has really been struggling in Yu-Gi-Oh, but you can find things out there that are kind of standouts like old set stuff, high grade stuff, the original Legends of Blue Eyes White Dragons, the first editions, they're very collectible. It's kind of like Pokemon. When you go back to the OG stuff, there's good stuff there. And yeah, it's set up in a way where it's kind of easy. Like I don't want to say easy, there's a lot of strategy in it, but the games can be very quick. It can just be like combos of what you draw. So that's one thing I didn't like about Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like, yeah, it's more complicated than Pokemon, but the games in Pokemon are almost more drawn out than Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! It's just like how efficient you can
With
draw.
I
But
understand with Yu-Gi-Oh though, I love the Game Boy game. What is it? Hill Stories?
oh yeah, Dark Duel Stories.
Oh man, that game
That was
you
pretty fun.
I just played for hours. I have honestly almost more fun memories playing that game than I did with Yu-Gi-Oh. But
And Pokemon, you mean?
oh yeah. But with Yu-Gi-Oh, when everybody kind of jumped ship, it was kind of like, oh, you're too young now. You'd almost get teased for being in Pokemon, and you jump to Yu-Gi-Oh, and I mean that's what everybody on the schoolyard was all about. And in terms of the actual collector value that still holds to this day, I do think it is still really high. I do think the interest that you see has been able to successfully take root with the nostalgic aspect of it. And I do see Yu-Gi-Oh continue to do well. I mean, the market for some of the more vintage stuff has just blown up.
Mm-hmm.
And I regret not buying a few of those first edition booster packs 2 years ago when we were talking about it. they almost overnight just skyrocketed
Mm-hmm.
of the Legend of the Blue Eyes, and I was like, do I do it? I'm not sure, and I regret not doing that because they were, what was it? It was the, I remember it was the first edition of the Unlimited. They were like $25, and then I looked again and they were like 250, 300.
Yeah, they were kind of late to the hype, but they had their
Mm-hmm.
wave too.
And I think it's kind of leveled out. It looks like, but I mean, they went up significantly, and so the fact that whenever there comes money, comes more people. Why,
Yeah.
whether it's people that like it or not, that. I mean, doesn't really matter. It brings more people in, whether they're good for the hobby or not. And with that, start coming forgeries, start coming everything else. But I haven't gone back to Yu-Gi-Oh. I still have all my cards. Well, my second set of cards. I had the first set stolen. They were confiscated from me in sixth grade because I was causing disruptions in class, and I was
I
playing, I
think you
guess you could
told that
say.
story,
Yeah,
didn't you?
yeah, we have. And anyways, yeah, they were all stolen. I knew they were going to get stolen, and they did, and I was able to recoup a little bit. But I still have everything, and they're in penny sleeve and card savers. And I've thought about going back for some Yu-Gi-Oh, but just right now, I can only afford so many hobbies, and Yu-Gi-Oh is not a part of that, unfortunately. So, but
Yeah, I almost have more nostalgia for the Yu-Gi-Oh cards because yeah, I remember more about having Yu-Gi-Oh in my childhood than I do Pokemon because my Pokemon cards got stolen, and then by that time, like Yu-Gi-Oh was the thing. So yeah, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh was where a lot of my memories were, and I'll eventually have the cards again, but now my care for Pokemon is like so high, and every once in a while, you know, I've talked about this where I do like a clean out. Yu-Gi-Oh was seen as a thing that was just extra, and when they went up, I sold the last binder I had. I had a complete Legend of Blue Eyes set, and then a starter deck Kaiba and a starter deck Yugi, like the three main things. And I sold those just to put more money into Pokemon, which is still an okay decision by me today because Pokemon is where it's at for me. So I would like to have like a Blue Eyes and a Dark Magician again, maybe from they have the cards that were in the Dark Duel Stories games that have like a unique hollow pattern. Those are actually
mm,
some of the most sought after Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, and then they have the Exodia head in that hollow pattern as well. So maybe I'll get those one day, but yeah, it would have to be the OG Blue Eyes artwork from the anime because it's so much tied to that. The Legend of Blue Eyes has a different artwork, but I guess that's the true gem of the hobby. But it's more about the anime for me. But yeah, I don't think Pokemon should be worried about them though. I mean,
no,
the
they've been.
playability scene has pretty much declined, in my opinion. There was a game store back home for me that advertises it, but they put on their game board, they have Pokemon 2 nights a week, Magic like 3 nights a week, and Yu-Gi-Oh just gets like one night, and it's like the same people playing it. But yeah,
Yeah, I think it's going more towards the collectability aspect with some of the Yu-Gi-Oh. And not
yeah,
everybody feels like playing in the tournaments. They might just play with friends. And but they shouldn't be worried at all because they've been competitors now for 20 plus years or 20 years, whatever it is, and they're still both doing just fine. So Yu-Gi-Oh isn't setting the scene on anything.
yeah,
And while we both have nostalgia, we both love Yu-Gi-Oh, we both have Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's we have taken priorities personally. Now there could be other people that think differently than us, and I'm sure they have their podcast too. But if you collect Yu-Gi-Oh, all the power to you. It's a great TCG to collect. It's a great TCG to play. I love playing it with by your own rules, and the anime and the IP overall is just fantastic. And I think there's room enough for both Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic.
yeah. They'll all three be strong. Those, of course, are the big ones, and Yeah, they'll all have their place. Yu-Gi-Oh is, really similar to Pokemon in that it's like sliding more towards collectability now and strong fan base. However, it's not as big as Pokemon, of course. And then, yeah, Magic I think still holds the playability area. Um,
They're
and yeah,
definitely kings in that regard. Absolutely.
yep. And of course, the
Yep.
alpha and beta sets from Magic are highly collectible, but I mean, that's just because they're so rare and old. You don't really have that ongoing collectability per se. But yeah, how about some lesser known card games? So essentially, we're not saying any of these next ones we're talking about, should have Pokemon worried, but we do want to explore some of their strengths and weaknesses and how they fit into the hobby. So, yeah, what you
So,
got for us?
well, there is a couple. I mean, obviously, some didn't last long. You have the Harry Potter TCG. Yeah, there was a TCG with Harry Potter.
And people have
Um,
been opening that again now. Those are getting a little surge because people are just like opening them for fun, but they're semi collectible. And some of the pulls in there are hard to get, so you're kind of seeing those creep up a bit. But
and the Harry Potter fan base is pretty rabid.
yeah, I was getting ready to say
Like
it's all because of the fan base. Like,
yeah, I would say like I know a lot of Harry Potter fans, and they are all obsessed with it. They'll just go ahead and I mean, watch the movies. I still watch the movies like every year, but the books are unreadable as an adult now. It is unreadable. But these folks are just so in love with it. They just keep on reading it, and I was like, how can you read that stuff? It's
or at,
Harry Potter,
or at
and
least
it's just
skip to like the last three books or something.
oh my
Like the
god,
first
it is.
ones, yeah, are atrocious.
I mean, the ride. I mean, I loved it as a kid. Not to see the fan base, but no one's going to confuse J.K. Rowling with the Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah,
It's not going to be Old Man of the Sea or The Sun Also Rises or Filbert Arms, any of that. It's not award-winning literature, and
or
it's
Tolkien. Like
interesting.
I was
Or
always a
or
Lord. I
Tolkien,
was
yeah.
Lord of the Rings guy through and through. So I don't like. I could watch Lord of the Rings like over and over and over again. The new show, Rings of Power, has just got me to
Oh yeah,
wanting to watch the old ones again.
I have seen the first movie probably over 200 times at this point. I think I'm confident to start saying that. I'm saying over 100 times now for over 5 years. I watch these movies several times. I would say about once a month at least.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Fellowship, it's more. I don't always finish it. Like I'll turn it on, and I've only seen like the whole trilogy probably like 40 to 50 times, uh, only. Uh, but yeah, I mean those are just amazing movies. But hey, again, Harry Potter has its own rabid fan base, and they had their short-lived Wizards Unite,
Yeah.
through Niantic. That didn't last too long.
Plus, how messed up is that? Like, they had that game going, which is like Harry Potter's Pokemon Go, essentially, for those who don't
Hmm.
know. And yeah, they straight up just shut the game down. And everybody who played, all the years they've worked for, it was just gone. And, that could happen to anything, but granted, Pokemon isn't going anywhere. But
Well, Pokemon is what keeps them going.
yeah, so it was surprising when that shut down. People were mad, but that's just the world of Harry Potter. I mean, aside from Universal Studios or wherever it's at, people who go there every year because they're mentally insane. Uh, just kidding, just kidding.
As opposed to spending the equivalent of a trip to Europe going to Disney.
Yeah, which we'll touch on that too when we talk about the Disney TCG. But yeah, it's cool. I love the movies as well, but man, it's like I don't know.
Even the movies are cringe at times. Honestly, like they keep the charm of the books, which I think is why I still watch them. But like there are some cringe moments in those movies, and we all know eventually WB is gonna rehash that. Like, okay, here we go. Let's start. Let's make more Harry Potter movies. Who's the next Harry Potter? Here we go again.
Yeah,
And yeah, like that's a franchise that is 100% getting rebooted, in my opinion. Um, I know they're trying to stretch it with Fantastic Beasts, but I say about 20, 30 years they're gonna reboot those movies. But anyways, the TCG is pretty defunct, but the fan base is what's keeping it alive. Like it looks like $500 for a sealed booster box.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just a thing for sure, but going nowhere as far as the playability and
Defunct.
yeah. Speaking of Lord of the Rings too, they had some TCG cards when the movies came out that some of the actors actually signed. Like they had the actor sign the card of their character in the movie. Those are pretty cool. Um, I've thought about picking up some of those, and they have it for each movie. Like they have Fellowship, Towers, and Return of the King, and some of those Fellowship ones early on, like a Frodo, Elijah Wood signed card is, a couple $100. They're cool. So Harry Potter kind of fits in that category. They're just kind of gaining momentum because they're semi collectible, and the franchise is so big. Like it's not going to be anything crazy, but people want it. So
No, there's actually a few you can kind of group in with Harry Potter. You can group in uh, Naruto.
yeah,
Naruto is kind of in the same boat
the old
where,
DBZ, like
well, the old DBZ, but I think okay, so we're gonna get it. Naruto gets about two lines. That sounds about deserving. I know there's some YouTubers that love Naruto,
there's
and
some
okay, I
other
love the
ones.
show.
There's some other ones
Yeah,
too, real quick, like the OG Kingdom Hearts,
okay,
TCG.
yep. You got the Marvel,
Yeah, Marvel in there.
but
Although some of those Marvel cards are pretty crazy expensive because people are nuts for Marvel stuff,
mm-hmm.
which is gonna,
Same rabid fan base.
yeah, that's gonna come into play in our Disney talk too. They got
Yes, it
potential.
is.
But
They
yeah, what were you
absolutely
gonna say
do.
about DBZ?
Okay, I collected to an extent the Dragon Ball Z cards back in the day. I was obsessed with Dragon Ball Z. I mean, to show how much of a big fan I am, I have Goku tatted on my back. So if that gives you an idea of like how hardcore I was into the Dragon Ball franchise, I have every single movie on or every single episode of Dragon Ball Z and the good portion of Dragon Ball on VHS. I showcase it. I have every movie on uh, every other movie that is on VHS on DVD of the Dragon Ball Z. Um, have the Dragon Ball GT DVDs. I have the Dragon Ball Z Kai on Blu-ray. I have the Dragon Ball Z, the Dragon Ball Super, the whole series on Blu-ray. I have the manga.
Got everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably my next biggest collection after Pokemon, I would say. Um, and their older cars are kind of plain. They got like power levels on the side. They had uninspired art, and it was just cool just to see your characters printed. Like if you're a fan of the show, it was just cool to see your
Yeah.
favorite characters printed. We didn't even play. I thought it was kind of confusing, honestly, as a kid. I just remember seeing all the cool power levels and all these cool different characters. And like, oh, I got to collect all my favorite characters. That's kind of how I saw it.
Those are
Um,
the ones I know is the ones with the power levels. Like
hmm
I know they're kind of collectible, but they're not like yeah, they're not insane. Some of the boxes are pretty pricey though. I feel like they fit in the Harry Potter, like other
Maybe the
old
Dragon Ball Z.
TCG.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they're
maybe
they're like
the
out
first Dragon
there
Ball
and
Z.
they're cool, but I think that's in
They,
part because of the new card game, Dragon Ball Super.
yeah, well, the Dragon Ball Z, the art is just as bad as like the Harry Potter art, honestly, and even the Digimon art is pretty bad. But it's overall obviously not as good. But when they started up again with Dragon Ball Super, the cards they are making now are really gorgeous, in my opinion. They don't have the same narrative that you have with Pokemon, the vibrant backgrounds. Well, it's more texture based and more um,
It's
color based.
it's almost
There
like an
isn't,
alt art in a way, but like
in some ways, yeah. In some ways, yeah.
they look
I mean,
really cool.
mhm. There are some cards that do kind of have that, but not as much as not as successfully as Pokemon. I guess is how I should say it. Um, and there's some of them I actually would love to have, and they're not really that expensive,
Yeah.
honestly. There are some if you get them like CGC 10, but some of the Ultra Instinct, like this one of Beerus, like the colors are just so vibrant.
When
It's like they've
I
learned from their mistakes.
Yeah, when I first saw like Pokemon kind of back on the uptick, and I was, um, really getting back into it, probably 2019, like Dragon Ball Super was really taking off again. Like it's been kind of a new thing, but it was gaining traction essentially. And yeah, it was really cool. I was looking at the Goku, like the main Goku card. I think it's like Sun Goku, the Awakened Power.
Yeah, I think that's the one with the Ultra Instinct, isn't it?
I think so. They pretty much like it was a chase card, and it was going for about $500 raw. And yeah, I almost picked that card up. It's now like $1,000 card raw, but a couple $1,000s in a 10. It's just a really cool card, but I still had Pokemon stuff to buy, so I didn't bother with that. But yeah,
I mean, I'm looking at some of them now. They like there's this Broly card. Wow, that's sick. Like
yeah,
some of them are pretty incredible.
they definitely, they definitely got it on the art style for sure.
Hmm. And that's great for its collectability because there are a lot of hardcore Dragon Ball Z collectors or Dragon Ball. I can't tell you how many people that I've seen within Dragon Ball community that collect those figurines,
Hmm.
statues, figurines, and very detailed action figures and toys. There's some hardcore collectors, and some of these things are several hundred, even upwards of $1,000, and you can really only get them in Japan. Like a lot of these are Japan exclusives, and there's a lot of people that just go absolutely crazy for them, and people that have whole cases dedicated to showing off these statues, and really as like works of art. And that's the now is there overlap with those who collect that in TCG? I think if you're that much of a fan of Super or Dragon Ball, I think
Hmm.
there is a lot of overlap because it is a very loyal fan base. There's a reason why they won't let Akira Toriyama and I forget the guy the name of the guy that's basically the current writer for it. There's a reason why they won't let them stop. They won't
Hmm.
allow them to stop because they want more and more and more. It's been going for almost 40 years and
Yeah,
it
it's
has
pretty
no end in
nuts.
sight. A movie that I love, by the way. Actually, I saw it in theaters. I just like the Broly one, and that movie was incredibly successful. Not as successful as the Broly movie, but I mean, Goku, Vegeta, Broly, Frieza. I mean, you're gonna find it difficult to a battle royale like that. You're not gonna be able to touch that. Even Gohan is my favorite character, but Gohan Piccolo, strong characters, not strong enough to overshadow Goku.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Goku. Everybody. I mean, he's just as big as Superman in a lot of ways. People know Goku. He's mentioned in rap songs. Kamehameha is mentioned in rap songs. I mean,
Yeah.
its reach
Really,
is huge.
really strong characters. Yeah, probably like as far as anime goes, the one that keeps up the most with Pokemon. Um, or arguably stronger than Pokemon. I think that's just really a place where it shines. And then yeah, the TCG just being the scope that it is, just really does well, especially in recent years with collectability for sure. But yeah, once
Like
again, I mean,
I'm gonna have to start getting into this, man. Like I knew that it was around, but I was also focused. Sometimes you get so focused on your goals and everything else that you kind of lose sight of some of the things that are happening on your peripheral vision. And I got into a bunch of groups for all these TCGs to kind of get a feel of the communities, a feel for um, some of the artwork and just the vibe of these TCGs and the culture around these TCGs. And I fed head over heels when I start seeing some of these artwork cards. I'm like, oh man. Like, hey, the one with alternate with Kamehameha. Then there's one where I think it has like all three of them with Kamehameha with Goten, Trunks, Gohan. I mean, the
Yeah.
artwork is just definitely is comparable to Pokemon, obviously, but its reach isn't. That's the biggest thing. Its reach hasn't gotten to the point. In the TCG aspect, I don't know how many people actually play it. I do know they revamped before Super. They did revamp it, but
Yeah. As far as the Super goes, I mean, it's okay. It's struggling a little bit, but
oh my god, this one's
yeah,
amazing.
they just have some good stuff as far as artwork and collectability. So
That's my gonna be. I might. If they have, honestly, oh, this one right here. Yeah. Anyways, if they, that might be something I might. If they got some cheap options for like, I don't want to spend a ton on these cards. Is the
yeah.
thing is, I want them for the artwork, but I'm not trying to make money off these things. I just want them for the collection, and I think if they have them at the KC Con, I might have to
Start say
pick up some.
you're gonna probably see some for sure.
Absolutely, I'm ready. I'm ready right here. Let's go.
But
But
yeah, I mean, is there any other ones you wanted to mention aside from jumping into Disney?
well, we haven't forget. I mean, have you forgotten about something?
Maybe Demon Slayer.
I was gonna say MetaZoo.
Oh yeah, yes, MetaZoo. I almost
Yeah, how could
totally forgot.
you forget about MetaZoo?
Well, I think that's a testament to how much I actually pay attention to MetaZoo.
mm.
So yeah, I am not. First off, I like what they're doing. They're trying to do the thing. They're trying to get like a nostalgic feel to the card game with the art style. I do think they have an art style extremely close to like OG Pokemon, Ken Sugimori. They've pretty much like said that was their goal. They have a lot of people who are heavily involved in Pokemon as far as the hobby goes, working for MetaZoo, especially in their marketing and getting it out there. I think they did a really good job at planning it all out. It's pretty solid. They kind of went overboard with the collectability as far as making like variants and Kickstarter version and all that.
Being able
They
to purchase air cards directly from their site.
yeah, they got like they went the way of Magic in the last like handful of years where it's just over the top too much. Like they did that from the get-go. And they could have really built something that felt genuine, but just the timing of it and then how they went about it and then all the variants and hype driven. I think that's the biggest thing. It's driven off the
Shilling.
hype. Yeah, it's just driven off the hype, and I don't know, it's inorganic. It never felt organic to me. But I've been in the hobby. I'd like to see or talk to like some of the kids who go to the store and see MetaZoo and just pick it up because it's in Target now. So it'd be interesting to see like what they think. Like, oh yeah, I just picked up this MetaZoo pack and I really like it. Those are the people that should have been, at the ground floor. And it might be too late to bring that on, but maybe not because they're in Target now. But I don't know. Essentially, you have to like capture that audience. And a lot of the audience that was captured in the heyday of MetaZoo, I feel like, were the super stonkers. And, were there because of the crypto craze, the TCG craze, Pokemon craze. And it was just another craze. And I worry that is the majority of people. They've really had some hiccups with their print runs here on this last UFO set, you've been seeing some pretty big names who are involved in storefronts and on YouTube, even big dealers that have been really concerned with MetaZoo with this last UFO set and the current state of the markets. So we will see. Time will tell. I think they could still be a player in collectability and maybe playability. I say maybe because I haven't really explored playability, but yeah, that core audience, the random people who haven't heard anything, if they buy it at the store and have a good experience, like that's what they need to succeed.
Well, supposedly they oh well, I'm gonna say their subreddit only has about 500 people, and if it were organic, it would be much more than 500.
Yeah.
There's their Facebook groups, from what I could see, all have less than 8,000 or so. Very minimal likes, which means my guess is if the subreddits are this dead, there must be a lot of communication on the financial end and various discords that I'm not interested in joining. But that's the only. Oh, look at that! It's actually right there. It's right on their site. Join the MetaZoo Discord, and let's go take a look. This is a live reaction to me clicking on the Discord. And
It's a very tight knit group too. I want to point out, like, yeah, it's cool they have those groups, but it's like people. I don't know. It's just a very tight knit group, which is cool for a community, but you gotta like expand. You gotta get out there and, like I said, have the genuine experience of someone random.
and when the whole thing is based off hype and capitalizing on that hype, that's how you pretty much create a bubble. And I know the first edition, the Cryptid Nation, the very first set was at one point I think it was going for like $1,300. Now it looks like they can be bought for around 500.
Yeah.
And I would honestly, I could see that continuing to fall. Um, this lack of organic interest and playability is going to lead to an unsuccessful TCG. And I do see some of the pros in the art. I do. Some of it also, the art makes it look like the highlight magazines. Do y'all remember those? The
Mm-hmm.
ones where you could like, oh, find these items and do this maze or whatever. A lot of the art kind of feels like that, almost like this generic animated cartoon meant to be palatable to children. There are some works that do look good, and the foil looks good, but I don't think there's enough of that, in my opinion, anyways, to keep people engaged. Maybe they can continue building on it, but if you don't have good artwork, we've seen what's the most common thing we've seen with the ones that have failed. The artwork isn't there on these cards. That's one of the most common things that we've seen. It's just
Yeah.
plain, it's boring. People that collect cards do so for artwork, nostalgia, interest, scarcity, whatever. Their Pokemon in this case, or in in our cases, I guess it'd be cryptids. Your favorite cryptid. They are and supposedly they are going to have a show.
Hmm. It's interesting.
I will watch it. I will watch it. I do want to. Well, a lot of people like I was reading in the MetaZoo subreddit, and like, yeah, there's supposedly a show, unless it got canceled or something. But I think it was like in sometime in 2023.
Huh.
And yeah, and like some of the people that are commenting, it's going to be DOA. Maybe if that happens, then the TCG's done. Like it is done. Like there is no recovering it if there isn't a success. Maybe way down the road, people can find it and have this collector's value to it. But as you mentioned, like if these kids aren't interested in, that's never going to happen. And there do see some people genuinely interested in these cards, and I feel for those people that might get burned. But just the fact that I think there's a lot of unsavory or savory, depending on the way you want to look at it, aspects that led to the hype and drive of MetaZoo, including a lot of individuals who received who knows how much money or who knows what all incentives they had to really press these products for MetaZoo.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think a lot of them received money or had some sort of piece of the pie, were promised, had a contract, whatever, in regards to finances. There was a lot of that driving it up. There's a lot of people that have been driven. MetaZoo has been financially based, not organic interest in collectability and playability. That's not the keys to have a successful TCG long term. We've seen what are some of the things we've seen so far with successful TCGs. Loyal fan bases, first off, and good playability artwork is another.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases, nostalgia.
The biggest thing for me is just, I don't know. It's just like what you just said. All the people I see pumping it is all about the stonkies. They've been in the hobby or other hobbies, and they just like taken up MetaZoo as like a project to like jump on board and make some money. So it's like I see a lot of that, and I don't know. Like you said, I don't see much organic growth there. The biggest thing is just people trying to shove it down your throats. Like you can tell, like the posts are kind of not genuine. They're like, "Oh, hey, new set UFO, giving some away." I don't know. It's just a weird vibe, and I hate to talk like that on new TCG, but I mean,
and I'm sure there are true fans to it, and I'm not trying to say like what you like is bad, but I just think there's a lot of questionable ethics that has occurred in business practice that occurred within this hobby and within various other TCGs communities to increase the marketability and the exposure of this TCG. And I think some people might be caught holding the bag in some regard. And there's a lot of people that I've even seen some people that they're trying to sell as much as they can. They got all this product. They're just trying to sell it right now. And it's been sitting there like it's a huge amount of product from MetaZoo, and it's been sitting there for months, and nobody wants it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's several $1,000s worth. I think that should tell you a lot as well. Like it's good steel product, like it's some of the first sets, or what should be good steel product. Excuse me.
A lot of people I know who have it are like, those who are pretty much like they don't even open it. I don't know a single person outside of social media that has the product that actually enjoys it and like opens it or like plays the game. It's like they have a box and they're holding on to it, and that's about it.
They're hoping it does stonks.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? The show could be successful. If the show is successful, I think we'll have to revisit this conversation.
Yeah, if the show's successful, I mean, and it takes off, especially something like crazy.
Then I was wrong, and I'll eat my words.
Yeah, it could be the biggest donks of all time.
And those people, they're like, you got me. Yeah, you got me. I was wrong, 100%.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
But other than that, I mean, we have Disney entering the game. So all the things we've talked about prior to now, even Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, despite Magic's, crown being in playability and Yu-Gi-Oh's nostalgic TV show for millions of us, nothing quite compares to Disney itself.
Disney's got that generation nostalgia on tap.
Yeah, this is the Pokemon of the U.S. Like, Pokemon is the highest grossing media franchise ever, but Disney is the biggest player by far out of anything else that we've seen before. And they're entering the TCG space in 2023. About this time next year, we should be on the brink of a set release for Disney.
which is going to be botted to the ground. I know they're going to print it ungodly, but they are going to bot that thing. You thought the special delivery Charizard was bad? Oh wait, you thought $100 popcorn bins from Walt Disney was bad? Haven't even seen it. But no, I think they are going to print a ungodly amount of this. So there might be initial hype, people wanting it. There'll be a lot of people keeping it sealed. Everybody and their mom's going to be keeping it sealed. The first booster box, but it's going to be ridiculous how much they're going to have it probably everywhere. They're going to be giving out for free probably at their parks. I'm sure they're
Yeah.
like, oh, have a complimentary pack. Trying to push it.
So, yeah, I remind me of something special to show you. But yeah, I mean, Disney, especially with their parks, I mean, people, like I said, these crazy people, they go to Disneyland every single year, spend thousands of dollars just going, spend thousands more buying things that they've seen year after year. There's people who go multiple times a year. I mean, it is a huge thing. It's popular for the 50-year-old parents, it's popular for the 5-year-old kids. Their intellectual properties at this point are insane. Of course, they got all the Disney stuff, but just think about Marvel, think about Star Wars. They could go like crazy.
They
One,
said that they're not.
oh, go
Honestly,
ahead.
they said they're not going to do the Marvel and Star Wars though. I mean, but that could change. They own the rights to these, so that could change at any time.
I think they'll try to stay away from it. Um, I think LORCANA comes from like just lore. Like they want to explore Disney lore. And granted, it's big enough to where they could just really go crazy for a long time. I think they will eventually expand. And one TCG we didn't mention earlier is Wii Schwartz.
Oh yeah.
As far as playability, like I don't think it's there. I think it's all collectability for Wii Sports. But what they do great is that they have a core card game and they expand into these other IPs. Like they have like Attack on Titan and stuff like that. They can branch out to a wide variety of anime. Just pretty, especially on the Japanese side. Like you should see how many sets they have. Disney could be that with their own card game, and it can essentially be like within Disney only. They have every Disney movie. They could make a set based off of every Disney movie if they wanted to.
Expand artwork, create new characters, build on existing characters. I mean, they even said this is the exact words from Vice President of Product Design at Disney, John Balin, is on this Lorcana set is the breadth and scope of Disney's characters represented in this game will be unprecedented, and it will contain more original Disney artwork than any other single product ever created. Our dedicated Disney product design team has enjoyed collaborating with Ravensburger and Walt Disney Animation Studios partners to create a unique Disney experience for fans of all ages to take home. So you're talking about never before seen artwork that are not even in the movies, not in shows. Who they're even almost like Disney has shown they're willing to incorporate the multiverse even within their own movies. Pixar is well, Disney does own Pixar, but Pixar is also separate in a lot of ways. Uh, Pixar, that whole play, that everything made by Pixar is in its own universe. It's all in the same universe.
Yeah.
And Disney has shown the willingness that they're willing to do this with their movies as well. I mean, literally the possibilities are endless on what they could do. And they have Ravensburger. They make the villainous board games. Estimated that I think they've sold like 3 million Marvel villainous board games. So, and the art there are pretty cool, unique art as well. They have it for a lot of different IPs within the Disney name as well with the Ravensburger villainous series. And I expect Disney to go hard on this. And another thing that they have is they're trying to hit another niche. You know how Pokemon has its own niche, and they're the king of that own niche within the younger, but people that are still involved in video games and even to an extent fantasy, obviously, and Magic is purely in the world of fantasy.
Yeah.
So those are each their own niche. There are some people that are kind of turned off on that. Not as much Pokemon because Pokemon's more universal in a lot of ways, like because they're fun for all ages. And but with Magic, it definitely has its own niche with fantasy, and a lot of people, the moment you do fantasy, it's got this stigma. Some people have never grown out of high school with their mentality, and the stigma of like, I mean, it's true though.
Yeah,
I I,
it is.
I know somebody at work that's kind of like that. He gives me crap for this that I'm big with Pokemon. I have this podcast, and and then I like, oh yeah, what about your fantasy sports? Or I mean, it's just there is a stigma to it to a lot of people, still to this day. But Disney, that's a whole new niche. You're talking already out the gate. You're talking 4 generations pretty much that might be interested in the TCG. You're talking about the grandparents with their grandchildren, and they get to play this game and collect and share it with their grandkids. Movies that they both love. I mean, you got movies like Bambi, Fantasia, Snow White, Dumbo, Cinderella. I mean, there's a bunch of old school movies. The Jungle Book. I mean, the new ones like Lion King, Frozen. I mean, there's so many routes that they could choose with this by
Yeah.
going after this niche that already out the gate, it's already creating its own market share, and that's only going to continue to grow as it gets closer and word spreads. And by the way, within the next couple of days, tomorrow supposedly at 3, they're releasing the preliminary prototypes at their D23 exhibit expos. That's where they release all their, they have a bunch of booths there, showcase some upcoming events
Yeah, it's like
of
the
their various
Collecticon of
IPs.
Disney. It's like
Yeah.
their yearly event.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of
And
which, hang on a second. I got
all right.
something special to share with you. So, yeah, the cards are supposed to be revealed tomorrow at the D23 Expo, but I found some images that have just went online 3 hours ago
When I was at
that
work, oh man, did you not tell me? I was so busy
so
getting this ready with the podcast.
so this is
Uh,
something Phillip has not known. We're going to get his live reaction here. There's an article on Polygon that I will link in the description, but they give some of the biggest details on the Lorcana set that is set to be revealed tomorrow. And holy cow, this is going to be big, y'all. Do you see that?
mm,
Essentially, we're looking at some cards. They've released like a Stitch, Elsa, Corilla Deville,
Maleficent, Captain Hook.
yeah, Robin
I mean,
Hood.
that art of Captain Hook's pretty cool. That's pretty menacing. And this is the first time art for these characters. Of course, they do Elsa. That
So
one's pretty good though.
it's almost
That one's pretty
like
good.
it looks like the artwork looks really good. It takes up about two
Hmm.
thirds of the card,
Yeah.
and they have full, they have the name, like Elsa, for example. They have Elsa, Snow Queen, and then off to the right, they have like a 2 and a 3, which looks like to be attack and defense.
Hmm.
There's also a number at the top left, which might be like their casting cost, like similar to mana.
Oh, they got Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Oh man, love that movie.
They have like subcategories of their description, like Elsa is Dreamborn, Hero, Queen, Sorcerer. So I'm sure there's going to be cards that, like, if you have a sorcerer in play, blah, blah, blah. Because Corella Deville is Storyborn villain. So there's Dreamborn, there's
Storyborn
Storyborn,
Hero or
there's Hero villains, there's
Bloodborne Hero.
subcategories.
So they got types. So the only thing I'm seeing with these cards though is there doesn't appear to be any texture. So are like, and
Yeah.
we're trying to see. Let's see
I
about
think these are just the stock
rarity.
images, but if you look at the bottom of the card, though, they actually have like a set number, and they have D23
4P1.
Expo first.
Yeah, I see that. But I'm trying to see. Well, you don't think first means first edition, do you?
I think
because
they're going
that
all
would,
out.
like, you think they're really going to do first edition? Like, there's a reason why Pokemon stays away from that, because I mean they already have issues sometimes. Like back in the day,
Let
or a lot of
me
times getting people to buy the items, but
let me just read
for
you this thing from the bottom though. Go down and there's a Mickey Mouse card. So here's what the
pretty cool
article
too.
says as far as the stuff goes.
Yeah, I haven't
Developers,
even had time to read it.
yeah, developers tell Polygon that the characters and abilities in the special D23 Expo collector's set will also appear in Disney Lorcana the first chapter. So the first Disney set is going to be called Disney Lorcana the first chapter. But
So
the
that's first is the
cards,
set symbol.
yeah, the cards you're seeing here is like a special sneak peek collector set, like a pre-release box. And
Mm-hmm.
then these cards will also be featured in that set. So I think these cards will have the D23 Expo and the first edition marked on them as like a distinction. But if you read on, it says they will also be marked with, the D23 Expo and first edition symbols. This set will be for sale during the convention for $50. So you can buy all these cards in a box for $50. Only those present at the convention itself will be able to receive the Mickey Mouse card, which is not included in the D23 Expo collector's set.
They're already creating
So this Mickey Mouse
scarcity.
card is a convention exclusive that is also exclusive to the set that you can actually buy there. So
Is that for this weekend? Because I'm trying to read as fast as I can, but also listening to you and maintaining the conversation.
yeah, so essentially tomorrow at the convention, people can buy this special box which has 6 cards in it
Oh,
for $50.
have we checked to see if this is on eBay yet?
I
Here,
don't
D23.
I don't think it was known aside from 3 hours ago, so probably
Yeah,
not.
I know, but maybe somebody put it up for. I mean, people have UPC pre-orders up. Christ. I mean, here D23 Expo Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, I was looking too.
That's gonna be a lot of stuff. It's gonna Lorcana Mickey Mouse, maybe.
This is like pretty early. Like nobody has posted on this yet. Of course, by the time you're hearing this,
Mm.
like people should have posted and it's going to be out. But this is like, as we're speaking, this is like unknown knowledge to most people.
First edition. So they're going to be doing first edition out the gate. So they're going to be purposely creating very limited quantities, which is, I mean, that makes sense. But what Disney does with some of their stuff, I mean, you remember, I mean, I always thought it was to maintain copyright things, like the copyright laws. They'd be like, the Disney Vault is only opening for this short time. Get here for the limited exclusive, or the Diamond, or the whatever edition of Lion King, or the Bambi, or whatever. And then you want to be able to buy it. Obviously, we were talking early 2000s when
Yeah.
you kind of, it was harder to, like, most people didn't have like a VHS ripper. You couldn't really copy that, and with DVDs, I was still like a DVD-R was still very young and very expensive, very expensive. The CDRs obviously were a little more common, but the fact that they are doing this, I mean, they're ready to throw hands.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, they're,
a
I
lot of
mean,
a lot of people just thought, yeah, it's just TCG, but they've really planned this out. I think that D23 logo and the first edition might be just special to this promo set.
yeah, I could see that because it says first edition symbols, but I figured it would be the first chapter for the set.
That might be
So
it because the set's called the first chapter. Maybe the bottom symbol is going to be a centered set symbol, and that first logo might be the first chapter, and that D23 Expo won't be there. But
so the
there's
only
two
thing,
logos because it's the actual D23 version. So that's probably what it is, like you said.
so I mean, they're already, the artwork's solid, but I want to see a little bit more texture and flow. I feel like what we're seeing is equivalent to the V cards right now. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm seeing these cards as being the equivalent of. They kind of got that feel. I mean, the design is kind of has that magic feel in some ways, doesn't it? Obviously, things are
Yeah,
a little
kinda.
reorganized, but like just the way it's framed and the borders. But I will say, and some things I can also say towards it is it's almost too I don't want to use the word distract, but almost too systematic in their structure. And I think things Nihil looks symmetrical, but just the way you got like this Captain Hook, this 1-2, and then like it's all kind of blocked, and then you have the moves, and that's kind of looks almost like another block as well. I don't know. It just looks
Yeah. I like
that
it.
looks kind of that. I mean, it just looks kind of not as creative as what I was expecting. But the artwork itself, the Hellworthing artworks look great. Like the Captain Hook one, the Stitch one. Corel Deville looks gorgeous with the lighting and the smoke, like this green smoke, this menacing aura and presence.
Yeah.
And then you got Robin Hood with more of this charm, with kind of like how it was in the movies a little bit. It captures that charm within the movies that you had with the backgrounds and the lighting. And I think it's great that they actually included him in these first 8 cards.
Yeah. I
I know he.
really like the design, and the seeing this has got me hyped. Like I was always hyped for the potential, but it's like out of all the TCGs that came and went, like this one is the one that has the potential, especially seeing this. And it does say in this article that I forgot to mention, you talking about the texture. It says
Mhm.
the collector's set of cards at the convention, the ones we're seeing now, will feature a unique foil treatment. So
Oh
they
man.
will be foil. And
So
I'm
here's
saying
another
now.
thing.
Oh, I was just gonna say now that if this does become a thing, like
These cards is going to be almost like the illustrator.
yeah, these cards are gonna be the top. Like unless they come out with some rare first edition promo type things. This Mickey Mouse card that you only get at the convention, this is gonna be the first edition Charizard. So
And
I'm gonna want to get these cards. I might try to
yep,
get a box. They're probably gonna
yep,
be pretty expensive,
yep.
but
Like that's pretty much what I was thinking. I was like, oh god, here we go, here we go. This is something where Disney is Pokemon. We don't have to worry about that as much, right? This is with Pokemon. One of the things they do well. They don't do number cards. They stay away from that. They don't do first editions anymore. For various reasons. Like imagine if they had first editions for Evolving Skies or for Vivid Voltage when it was already low print runs. I mean, Jesus. I had somebody rip the hands of Hidden Fates. This is without rip an ETB box of Hidden Fates from my hands. That wasn't even first edition. What would people wanting first edition do? I mean, you're talking about people pretty much fighting right there in the card aisle because of the money it's worth. And this is why I'm glad Pokemon doesn't do this because of how hostile some folks could get over this.
yeah,
And I don't know if Disney will do that out of the gate, but here's what I got to say about this Lorcana box is right now it's like it's been on various you've seen people post about it. I think Ravensburger there I don't know if he even had like 1,000 likes when I last looked at it. Whenever they posted about it um, on their Facebook page. What I'm saying is a lot of people aren't paying attention to this right now with this TCG. It's so far away. Nobody's paying attention. Um, how many people are going to be paying attention within the Pokemon TCG? People are like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. People. If you're not paying attention right now, this might be a short window. If they go on eBay and if they're like $100, I might go ahead and buy it right then and there. Not even think twice. Don't care if it might go to 50. Just get it because I think the hype, even if the TCG doesn't take off like we think it might be, it doesn't matter. People are still going to want these cards. People are going to want Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse, everybody loves Mickey Mouse, okay? Who hates Mickey Mouse?
I
Uh,
I just joined the Lorcana Discord server that the
I'm
Reddit
on, I'm
community
on,
is using.
yeah, I'm on the Facebook pages. I didn't even think to check the subreddit though. How many people are in this subreddit?
I was just checking 282 members right now.
Woo!
So
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, I'm
So
gonna be joining the subreddit to keep tabs. The official post of the cards that we just talked about was posted an hour ago on the subreddit. So, and in the Discord, people are going crazy. I'm looking at it right now.
how many people are in that Discord?
Uh,
Let's see.
I think only 50 something.
Well, okay, so that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's fine. Everybody's gonna be thinking the same thing. I'm just going to be trying to get one.
Someone
Um,
posted on here. Apparently, they're selling 300 sets a day, 900 total. So 900 of these sets are going to exist, plus the Mickey card.
how many people are even going to be thinking about putting this on eBay too?
We got to get them. This is going
We gotta
to.
go to Florida. We gotta go to Florida right now. Let's do it.
Oh, God.
I'm off tomorrow. Let's do it. I know. I'm sure the tickets are expensive too, but I mean, it might be worth it. I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying maybe we should.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be trying to get them. I mean, geez. Who knows what these could be? I mean, this is really going to judge the hype. It might be too early, but I mean, at most, between the subreddit and Discord, 300 something people. I don't think they'll be
No,
going up that crazy, but I mean, if this becomes a
no,
hot topic in a year and a half,
900 people. I mean, like I said, I think if you're hearing this, if you can, I think it's worth it to try to see if it goes for 200. I might even buy it. Honestly, I know that seems like whoa. They haven't released their first set, Philip. Jesus, hold your horses. But I mean, I just think this is almost too big to fail in some ways. And yeah, so this Lorcana TCG 20. I'm the 21st member. That's what I'm talking about, baby, right there.
yeah,
And
it's gonna be insane.
we talk about how we missed too early. This is what MetaZoo wishes it could be.
Yeah, we're not even like released or near it. We're just seeing these
My
promos, but
brother, my brother might. I mean, because he's got kids as well, and it's like they're really into Disney right now. Like they're thinking about planning a trip. I told him it's like, well, good luck with that cost with all four of you. But 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 no, I mean, this is something that like again, like right out the bat, generational parents with kids and collecting. This is a huge demographic that's being untouched that Pokemon can't tap,
yeah,
that Magic can't tap. Yeah, there's a very good chance in 5 years we're talking about Disney Pokemon Magic.
yeah. If the mechanics and gameplay is good, or they keep doing like collectability like this,
Hmm.
it's gonna be insane.
I
And these
this is it.
cards are going to be like $1,000 set
Yep,
if this is like
yep.
a hot topic in 2 years of
More than that.
how well the
More than
TCG is
that.
doing.
Like, yeah, this is I know I'm sound hyped, and because we are hyped. This is huge. You can be a fan of both. I love Disney. I love Pokemon. I love Dragon Ball Z, Super, whatever. All of them. GT. No, not GT. Never mind. Uh, but no, this is huge. The amount of IP that comes to this because you know what's next. Eventually, it's going to lead to Pixar. Right now, they're focusing on Disney, but just imagine an Incredibles, right? an incredible like Frozone and Jack Jack. Like just imagine what he can do with that IP. I mean the Incredibles 2 is probably or might have been almost better than the first Incredibles. Like it was that good, and people still love it. Finding Nemo. I mean Wally. I love Wally personally,
Yeah, I like
and
that one too.
I mean just take your pick of any of these pictures. Toy Story. They actually White Schwartz actually has access to that in Japan, and they just released some cards for Toy Story in Japan, and those cards were gorgeous. And I imagine that I have no doubt that Disney is going to incorporate full art textures, multiple layers, secret rare, and whatever rares that they want to call it. And
Yeah, it's
it's going to have some serious, beautiful art, and it's going to have some serious collectability for anybody fans of Disney. Everybody remembers growing up with Disney. Everybody has those films that you just loved that help make you who you are. And that is something that Pokemon has been able to create in just a short time. Everybody has that feeling of Pokemon, that discovery, that sense of adventure that you have with the IP and with those characters, and they become a part of you and a part of who you are. And Disney already has that. They have generations of that developing. And I mean, yeah, what else can be said?
yeah, it's just gonna be nuts. I mean, to think that they can expand and all that. And yeah, the name is so cool, like Lorcana, exploring the lore. That Mickey card is based off of they said that in the article too, but I guess Mickey was featured in like 1938 as like a little tailor. So that's why he has like the scissors in
You
his
mean,
hand.
I mean, he was a sailor. That was his first one. He was what is it, the Steamboat Willie?
Yeah. Which yeah, I don't even know, but I know that one was way back there. That was actually a world featured in Kingdom Hearts, like all black and white world, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
his
that's another thing you
subcategory
want
on this
too.
card is yeah, brave little Taylor. So I mean, they could pull from anything.
I think it might be pulling from Fantasia too, because wasn't he involved in Taylor in that movie as well? I know he was like a Wizard's apprentice, but I thought there was a part where he was like a Taylor as well. But I could be wrong.
It says it was an animated short in 1938, but
Yeah, they used to show them before, just like with WB and Looney Tunes. They used to have them as shorts before movies.
yeah, looks like it was its own production by itself. So, but yeah, man, it's just gonna be crazy. I
I'm gonna have you watching that all day tomorrow.
I kind of I for sure want a Mickey card, but I don't know if I'll do the whole set. But I might as
Well,
well.
it comes as a whole set, doesn't it? I assume it comes as a whole set besides the Mickey card, right? Or no, you can buy it, right? Isn't that right?
So what did they say? The Mickey card.
I haven't even been able to read the article. I'm so hyped.
It says
But
only those present at the convention will be able to receive the Mickey Mouse card, which is not included in the collector's set. So it's almost like just by being there, you can get the Mickey card. So they might be handing these out at like the Lorcana booth. So the Mickey card might not be as expensive as this collector's set.
but the other seven will be because you had to pay for them. Just it's essentially comparable to the Punch promos with how Mihimiku is what it is because you
Yeah.
had to pay for it, and not everybody wants to pay for it because it's cars. Not everybody there cares about it. They don't understand how hype it is, and I don't know how big the D23 is. How many thousands of people are there? How many people actually know to buy those cars or not?
Yeah.
Which adds another layer. How many people are going to be able to are selling it? I'd be shocked if it's actually 900. I'd actually be shocked at that. Especially if their thing draws thousands. I would imagine it would be thousands, not hundreds. But
Yeah. And $50, I mean, for 6 cards, that's kind of pricey for, I can only imagine the amount of other, wasteful crap that they have to buy there. So people,
popcorn buckets, $90.
I'm sure people are going to be, showing away from $50 for 6 cards of like this random set. But man, I don't know. It's just going to be crazy. I almost want to like dig out this subreddit and Discord that someone that's actually there to like, I'll pay you $100 right now. But I don't know. It's just gonna be crazy. But we need to move on. I guess
Yeah,
we can.
we've been ranting.
Yeah, but I don't know. I knew we would kind of rant though for me slipping you that, but it's worth
I
it.
mean, yeah, I'm hyped about this, and I'm hyped about Disney. Like my girlfriend actually makes fun of me. I don't do it as much as I used to because I'm starting to kind of mature to the point where I'd rather watch these movies with like other people. But a lot of these movies I still watch regularly. I just watched all four Toy Stories.
Yeah.
Those are still fantastic movies. Absolutely. The Pixar movies I find myself watching almost every year. Not all the Disney movies, although I am a big fan of Frozen. I do like Frozen big time. I even almost like it more than Lion King, honestly.
Yeah. I like a lot of the movies. I just can't stand the musical aspect of them. But
But I mean, come on. I mean, I would say Frozen's probably the best musical or one of the best musicals out of all Disney's movies.
uh,
Modern, at least modern, I would say.
I don't know. I'm kind of a music guy, but not that type of music.
I mean, I'm
But
not saying it's like award winning. I'm just saying it's solid for what it is.
yeah,
Nothing is
you
posted
can
yet.
keep watching them. Nothing against that.
Here, let's I'm gonna save this search.
Yeah, I actually might record a video after we get off here, just like showing this, because I mean,
Hey,
yeah,
hey now. Don't you be posting this video until
I'm not
until
gonna
we
post
can get
this.
the
I'm gonna post like
I know
probably
on
my
your
own. No, like
uh
post my own just for Lorcana, like a separate
oh,
thing.
okay. No, I know, but I mean you're building more hype. I mean more people are gonna see that, but all right.
But
People are gonna figure out eventually, so it's just this is something that you generally we could be like a true early birds and anybody listening to this and anybody or even anybody following you because I haven't seen any of the big names and YouTubers. I haven't seen anybody. I think maybe PCT did a PTCG Radio. I don't think he's even covered this yet. Um,
there's one guy who posted on Reddit like a video of it, but he was
and
like number one. But
like I
also,
mean,
people aren't going to
there's
be seeing this for like 3 more days, so it'll be a
uh,
little older news. But
I mean, I think if you can get it purchased this weekend, even if it's for $100, I think that's solid. Um,
oh yeah, I meant just for people listening.
oh yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
just to have you guys
absolutely.
know, we're recording on a Thursday before this was a thing, so we're
Yeah.
talking about it first, even though you won't hear it first. The Queen just passed
And
today. We marked this occasion. We were talking about it.
yep.
R.I.P. the Queen.
And I'm also in like a few of the Facebook groups. I haven't been able to pay attention to social media. Like, 'cause basically, I got off work, basically drove back here and got everything set up already, and we started this podcast, and here we are at 11. Like, I didn't have time to listen to it. I didn't get any notifications about it. Didn't get to see anything about Facebook. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm excited that we were able to talk about it. I was a little disappointed that we weren't going to be able to talk about like the actual images. It was just going to be all speculation.
Yeah, I
So,
was too, and
but
I was doing my digging right before, and then sure enough,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's so few people talking about it. Like, you actually got to go out and seek that information. And I'm buying it. I might have less money to spend at the KC Con, but no regrets.
yeah. But with that big chunk of news, let's go ahead and hop into the Q&A, which I guess we'll have to make a little quicker. I guess we could do the game, or we could cut it since we're already at like the 2 hour mark. What do you think?
Uh, I kind of want to do the question, and then we can do the game real fast. I don't think it'll take very long.
All right, let's just
Or
do
yeah.
hot take for the questions.
Okay. Uh, well, I was just gonna do what IPs do you want to see Pokemon collaborate more with in the future, and what exactly are you expecting?
Yeah, I mean, their collaborations are good. I think they could do a way better job. I mean, every time they have a collab, it's like, amazing for both companies, obviously. But I was just thinking about this the other day. What was I thinking about? It was like or maybe someone mentioned this in another video, like Lego, like how big Lego is and how easy it would be just to make like Pokemon Lego.
That would be good. I never even thought about that.
Like,
That would be a
obviously,
good
both
one.
companies don't need any help and they're doing
No.
very well, but just imagine how crazy that would be.
Yeah. See, I know I've said before with like what you would like to see, and I mentioned Dragon Ball Z, like with Goku, like Super Saiyan. But then I mean, thinking about it afterwards, and like that doesn't make sense because an active TCG would never allow that. I feel like they would never allow that collaboration to happen, but it would be good because if they did, because it would gain exposure and marketing, you would hope, right? For Dragon Ball Super,
Yeah,
it's
Lego
just
collectors like would go back and forth, and like
yeah.
DBZ collectors would go back and forth. I mean, there's always crossover. Like, yeah, Pokemon might not need it, but I mean, like Lego is not a direct competitor, really. I mean, yeah, they could do a collab pretty easily, and people would go nuts. DBZ, yeah, it
I
might be a little tougher, but
Well, I figure if they did do a collaboration, it would be front with a Japanese-based company, and it kind of makes sense with Nintendo, Zelda, or I mean, Little Link. I could see them going that route, and maybe they could do Naruto. I mean, they've already done Mario, so I could see them do something. I know that's not quite the same, but Mario, they definitely could do. Um,
I mean, just
I mean,
looking at the
Naruto.
collabs that they did outside of Pokemon, I mean, it's really limited. Like, yeah, we have Mario and Luigi, which is based off of, totally different IPs, but it's like Mario and Luigi, like the biggest of the big. And we've had Beauty Looking Back Pikachu, which is based off the famous stamps. So that was totally unrelated to TCG and Pokemon. But I mean, it's kind of hard to think of them. Like, you have a lot of really unique promos, but they're all like Pokemon related, like Poncho Pikachu's and stuff like that. But it's kind of hard to think of some because they really don't go outside of their IP very much at all. So,
No, and which is why I figure if they did, it'd be most likely with a fellow Japanese company.
yeah.
If they did go that route, which is why I think potentially something like Link or something with an anime, something that would necessitate a or like potentially bring up the possibility of a collaboration. Like you have like the Hunch promos is another example.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
they
they
kind
they,
of
they do
expanded,
it.
like, I was getting ready to say that too. Like, it's more of a hidden thing. Like, yeah, they expanded outside of Pokemon with that, but like the card itself is still Pokemon. It's just like the art style. Or like recently, that the guy who did the art for Breath of the Wild and Zelda, he did like a mock-up Zacian card in celebration of that online art exhibit, which isn't even a physical card. They just showed it. So that's still the same thing. It's like 100% Pokemon, but like a twist rather than like him drawing that Pokemon in Breath of the Wild. They just took the artist from Breath of the Wild and he illustrated a Pokemon card. So it's always a weird, like, sort of collab, but yeah, they could be doing a lot more. And I guess the biggest one for
I think
me,
it'd be
Lego, would be the most common sense, no brainer,
yeah.
home run.
I I just think it would be more fun, and even if they don't have to make it a scarce card, they can make it easily available, but they could still make it cool looking.
Yeah,
I mean, like it doesn't have to be an expensive card like the Mario and Luigi boxes were.
they could do like
So,
a Ditto card for like the TCG side and have the Ditto take the shape of like Lego type things.
yeah.
They could have a whole Like they could have the starters as like Lego sets, and then they could have Ditto promos that's mocking the images of the Legos.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They're just weird with their collabs. I mean, they're really protective and conservative, which just kind of Japanese culture is in general, but they've just always been that way. But for
So,
my, let me jump into my question.
yeah, yeah, go for it. I just I changed up the search on eBay just to see if maybe I could find the Lorcana, and I encountered $1,000 pre-sale pins. $1,000 pre-sale pins. 4 pins from Cinderella with $1,000. Jesus Christ. But yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Anyways.
pricey.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about the Charizard UPC. I think UPCs are going to be a thing. They're seen as special products at this point that have a yearly or twice a year ish release. We've had the Sword and Shield, the celebrations, the Charizard, and then apparently an Arceus one coming later. What do you think, like the right way to do that is, and like what would you like to see in a UPC?
Like the right way to distribute a UPC? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, I was kind of getting at that because I was going to do a follow up thing of like I think
Okay.
it's kind of I it's a good thing for them, but I hate how they're doing like a Charizard UPC and then like potentially a couple months later we might see another one. Like I think they're just trying to capitalize on Charizard. Um, I would think they would be cool if they'd be a yearly release based off of just the theme of that year,
It
something
seems
like
like
that.
they are doing now. They're doing a couple now a year. They have the Arceus, they have and they have the Charizard. I think there was another one this year, wasn't there? Or am I confusing my years? It's getting late.
There's like the Japanese
But
one that was like the special thing, but
I know like Arceus had Brilliant Stars. He had his own box, but it wasn't like a UPC box. But I think I mean, I would say it'd be great not to have leaks. That'd be pretty great. But I think what they're doing with the printing is the primary thing because scalping was the main issue and the main barrier for a lot of individuals for the celebrations UPC. Yes, it did have a lot of products and it had a lot of value. You could even argue they could have sold it at 199.99 and people's and MSRP, and that still would have been a fair price. So that one had so much value, it was okay paying. There's a lot of people suspecting it, stonks and all that, and it will do well. But all in all, they only made a handful, and they never had plans to make more or reprint it, even when they knew it was not enough. They knew it wasn't enough out the gate, and they never had plans to do more. And I think they kind of went half-ass on that one personally. Um, Now, I do think we are going to see them learn a bit with his Charizard, and they've increased printing capacity substantially. So I do think they will remedy that aspect. These All-Star promos are great, but I would like a little bit more in my box than just the All-Star promos. I would like to see a little figurine, like an actual statue
yeah,
of that character. That's what I would like to see. Like how Tonkachu had his own thing.
yeah, that was a pretty unique box.
Maybe not something as big as that, but that's kind of what I'm looking at there. I would like to see that in my boxes. I would like to see potentially more promos. They don't all have to be bangers. It could be like a gold Charizard promo or gold Greninja promo or whatever UPC that they're making, and a special type of promo that they can have. They can have like a 10, 8 promos, whatever, in a box. Perhaps not
Yeah,
that much, but like 5 or 6. Give you more promos when you buy. I would even be okay spending more money in doing so. I would be okay with that. I think the packs is fine with how many you get, but I think the biggest thing is definitely more variety. I think, in my opinion, and I think his statue's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think I mind what's in it. I just like the consistency. Like right now we have like what is it? You know, all the boxes are different. We have the gold cards and the metal cards in the celebration box. We have no gold or metal cards in this one. We just have 3 promos. So I just would like to see a little more consistency in them. Just seems like they're putting a box together um, out of the whim. But I like them. I think they're a cool product. I just think there just needs to be more rhyme or reason. This Charizard one feels like it's just, hey, look at here, buy it. And a lot of people are going to, but the Arceus one makes sense. You know, it's kind of been a year of Arceus with the games and the sets, and he's relevant in the TCG. And so celebrate that with a premium Arceus collection. So maybe they could do like twice a year if they did that. But yeah, something like that would be pretty nice. Anyway, though, trying to wrap this up here soon. Let's jump into the game. And we figured we'd keep it simple. This one might not pay off for a couple episodes, but we're trying to guess the floor of the Scarlet and Violet promo. If you don't know, if you pre-order the Scarlet Violet games in Japan, as far as we know, nothing like this is happening in the US as far as cards go. But you get a special Pikachu full art promo with the Scarlet and Violet starters on it. Very reminiscent to like a 20th anniversary Festa Pikachu promo. It's got Pikachu front and center with the starters around him looking all happy. Not as, sparkly as the 20th anniversary, but very cool promo. Really wish we'd get this in English, but once again, it's just a Japanese thing, having special promos like that. But what do you think that card will be worth?
I think it's going to drop down to what the RCSV dropped down to. It looks like even the English ones of the Galar starters are. Let me. I think they are $50 too. I'm pretty sure the Japanese were going for that as well. Um, so there's a lot of growth there because it is a lot of it's great artwork cards, but this is better artwork than that card.
Yeah.
Um, and like, there's more depth to it. The other ones is kind of like more reminiscent of some of the Sun and Moon era vibes. Than I mean, it looks like they're what is he on a like? I don't even know what's happening kind of there. It's like it's
I
just a bunch
think
of light and like wow, it's just oh I think he's doing the Iron Tail is what's going on with the it's like the Iron Tail and yeah, and then you got each one kind of doing their own thing in the background. Whereas with this one, it's more of one the lighting is better, it's more colorful, and there's a legit background that you can see. They're like it's Pikachu and the other starters leaving the lab and the professor's place is kind of what it looks like. So you have that scene and that narrative that's being built around that scene. So there's a lot of depth to it. So the artwork right out the gate is better.
yeah,
But
very
it's going to be,
positive card. Like, hey, we're starting
mhm.
our new adventure. Like,
Yep,
very,
here we
very cool.
go. And this is the first card of the Scarlet Violet and Shield era. It's like, let's go. We're going on an adventure, sort of thing. Um, and I think it's going to definitely go the route of the Galar starter promo. And I think it'll even do better. But there will be a lot of these made. A lot of these made. Um, I think you will see a floor pretty similar to that of the RCS All-Star promo from the RCS game. This is, I mean, the artwork's so great too, but I think there's more texture, it looks like, to this one. Um, but I think you're looking at a similar value. So I think the RCSV got down to like $12. I bought it at like 14 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be looking somewhere around 15 to 20.
Yeah, I'd say probably 30 or so. I mean, it's because it's a full art. It's a really cool card, though. I mean, hard to say. Pretty accessible to get them. It's one of those cards that's going to be real cheap and have a nice, healthy climb for
Yep,
sure.
and it'll come back over the several years. Absolutely, it'll probably end up hitting the similar growth as the Galar. I know it's funny. I actually several times I had an opportunity to buy those boxes that had the that promo in it, and I always chose against it because I could tell by looking at the promo like it was heat to crap. Like I could tell it was already like damaged pretty much, so I just chose against it each time. But I
Yeah.
think even during the hype, those cards were like only like $25. So like I mean, it's done some healthy growth already, and I mean it's going to do well. But like this is one of those cards you get it as a notable part of Pokemon history, as the first card for the Scarlet Violet era, and just it's more notable to have as a collector as you're going through the Pokemon history in real time. And I think it's great to have for that reason. But I mean, yeah, if you buy a large station and or a large marketplace share with these cards, I think this card will do well. Like you get it at $15, $20 an hour when it hits its low, sell when it doubles.
Yeah. Pretty easy card to pick up, but lots of growth that's pretty easy to predict. It's going to be, I mean, honestly, the hallmark card of the new gen, I think, because not too long from now we're going to get the new set, and I doubt it's going to have like a giant full art card like this. Usually, the first set of the gens is kind of boring, but
Don't be so sure. I think some people think they're going to stop all tarts. I disagree. I
I think
think
they'll
they're
still
going to.
have that. I just mean like the set
Mm,
as a whole usually starts slow. Like they don't do like
hidden fates, pretty much, is what you're saying, sort of thing.
yeah, or like evolving skies. You know, they start with
Yeah.
like the base Pokemon, which is cool at first, but like after you see a couple more sets, they're much more exciting than like the base set. You know, stuff like that.
I mean, Sword and Shield was kind of unheralded, but I mean, it was a solid looking set.
Yeah.
I thought, anyways.
All right. Well, that pretty much does it for this episode, guys. Like we said, we are going to the KC Collecticon. Um, we will be talking about that a lot on the next episode, I imagine. That might
Yep.
be deserving of an episode itself. But yeah, we'll see. Is there any big key items that you're wanting to bring, or like what's your main goal? If you
Well, since we don't have the cards, it's I think I am going to try then. I was if we had the cards, I was going to try to shoot for a like a PSA 9 or like a near mint Mahario Pikachu. But I think instead what I'm going to do is shoot for a PSA 10 um, Psyduck, Punch Psyduck.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, maybe even if they have a CGC 10, but that's probably going to be more expensive. So
Yeah,
I just want it. That is one of my personal favorite cards, and even though PSA's been absolutely just crapping all over us, and it's kind of a part of my collection goal. So here I am, I'm making a PSA. Uh, so, but yeah, that's kind of probably the main thing. If I can't find that, I might just buy some smaller items, some goals for my collection, for my binder sets, and maybe some Dragon Ball, like just fun, cool looking Dragon Ball Super cards, and just have fun with it and not really worry about like getting great deals or anything like that. Because I do the whole aspect of me getting that PSA 10 much side up is to save money from the eBay fees. I think I could get one around 600. They're kind of pushing almost 800, between like 7 and 800 On eBay, I think I can get one for 600 cash, maybe even 550. So that's too big of a disparity to pass up, which
Yeah.
is why I might be interested in trying to see what I can do. As far as what I'm trying to look at, I don't have a whole lot to take with me unless I want to part with another piece of my collection. I do have some cheaper slabs that I could try to like get for, I don't know, like a couple booster packs, and then trade those booster packs for something else and just keep on going from there. Like add a little bit of my own to get more value. But I mean, I'm looking at maybe some booster boxes I have, like of like Miracle Twins, or maybe $100 value plus having a few $100s in cash,
Yeah.
and just seeing what can happen. But I'm not going to get too worried about it. I got Christmas coming up. And I might go big for Christmas instead if I can't find something what I'm looking for in the deals I'm trying to get. Which what I'm going to get, I don't know. We'll see what I'm feeling. I might go for the PSA 9 or that near mint or it's sealed whatever Mario Luigi Pikachu and just be like YOLO.
Yeah, I really don't know. I think I'm gonna bring a lot more stuff than I originally planned and just see what happens. But in doing that, like, nothing could happen. I have a couple of fossil and jungle booster packs that I'd probably use as trade fodder if I found something cool. I might bring a couple tins that I have because there could be potentially a trade that I would like to do if I have the 10 and the dealer has a 9 and then another card I want. I might try to work up deals like that where, like, hey, I'll give you the 10 for the 9 plus I want this other card, something like that. So I think that's where my potential lies, but it really just depends on what they have.
And ultimately, they're going to want cash more than anything.
Yeah. So
like like at the end of the day, they're going to want cash. So it's like they're not going to want to give out cash either. So
yeah.
Only products, only something that's already a part of cost. So
yeah, so that's my thing. I kind of anticipated going cash heavy, but then I was like, well, I don't need to go hard for anything. So now I'm just kind of there for the experience and just bringing stuff just to see what would happen.
I'm gonna say now with his new LORCANA.
Yeah,
who knows? Who knows what? Like that does change plans for me. Seriously, like
me too. I could potentially not have anything going into Collecticon. So
I mean, yeah, like basically looking at like just having fun with it, which I'm okay with. Just having a trial run, gaining experience, learning to talk to these. I mean, I work in customer service, so it's like I'm pretty amazing with sales and customer service, but like I'm not familiar with all these people and necessarily the more personable aspect of this hobby. But I can't imagine it's too different. But like there are probably parts of the business and costs of this hobby with the business on that end that I'm not familiar with because my selling has all been small time. So
yeah. But man, what an episode! We'll have to do a
2.5 hours. But
we'll have to do a LORCANA focused episode, of course, as with everything that we really get into.
Might have to wait till next year though. But
yeah, it'll be a while. But let us know what you guys think. I'll be looking out for the LORCANA. Maybe next episode we can tell you if we picked up any.
I already saved the searches on eBay. Oh.
There you go. All right, guys. We better wrap it up. We'll see you in the next one, though. Peace out.
See y'all later.